Please welcome today's guest speaker, Mr. Takao Onuki.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Foreign Correspondents Club of Japan. My name is Khaldun Azhari. I'm the president of this club, and I'm moderator today's evening. And I would like to welcome our guest speaker today. He is Mr. Takao Onuki, General Manager, Planning and General Affairs at General Affairs Department at TEPCO Fukushima Revitalization Headquarters. And to his right is Miss Miyashita. I think she's our interpreter today for the Q&A session. And Mr. Onuki will tell us about his efforts for the revitalization of TEPCO and its situation, and the update about their efforts in this regard. And he will speak for about 20 minutes in English, and that will be in Japanese, I think, Q&A session. And we have 1 hour press conference. Maybe we can extend a little bit if there's still interest. And we have some handouts. I think all of you have received that. And if you have any question about it, please indicate it then. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please give warm welcome to our guest speaker today. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you very much for sparing your precious time, and thank you, Calvin, for introducing me. It's my great pleasure to walk you through this presentation, and I'm Takao Onuki, General Manager of the headquarters. I'm here to update you on this issue, and I'd be very pleased if my presentation deepened your understanding on this issue. So let me start with my vivid recollection on March 11, 2011, when I was working for Team Energy Corporation in Manila, Philippines. It was a Friday afternoon around 2 p.m., because there was a 1 or 2 hour time difference between Tokyo and Manila. And Friday afternoon, I was having a very fun time with the Filipino employees. And all of a sudden, somebody screamed and cried, "Wow, tsunami is sweeping the coast of Japan." And I watched the CNN breaking news, and I got to know that was taking place in Fukushima. So I was very surprised and tried to call my parents living in Fukushima City, because I was born and brought up in Fukushima City, authentic Fukushima guy. And as soon as I heard their voices after several attempts, I was very relieved. And it really brought home to me that as long as communication is established or maintained, distance does not separate people. Rather, lack of communication separates people, even though distance is very close to each other. So this is a lesson that I learned at that time, and I fully realized the importance of this lesson again when I started my Facebook right here as projected. This is a timeline, and this Facebook is dealing with daily, very heartwarming topics like sake or other Fukushima Foods products in Fukushima. And I would like to share this one with our friends overseas. So if you are interested in, please visit this website, and the address is as provided at the bottom of the cover sheet. So please flip the page. We get started, page 2. And this is the message from the representative of Mr. Yoshiyuki Ishizaki, EVP of TEPCO. And I would like to highlight the second paragraph, going that recognizing that the various efforts are being made towards getting evacuation order lifted. We are aiming at spearheading our work in Tomioka Town, where the evacuation order is still in place. We believe that this approach will greatly encourage people there. So importantly, the objectives of our works are: 1, help the evacuees return home. Second, help them restore life and develop local community. For these purposes, we'd like to mitigate constraints on radioactive materials and remove hearsay or rumors on Fukushima products or sightseeing. Please flip the page. The page 3, the left side shows 3 types of evacuation zones. The pink zone is the area where it is very difficult for the evacuees to return home for a long time. And the yellow zone represents the area where people are not permitted to live, but temporary stay is allowed. And the green zone is the place where the evacuation order is ready to be lifted. And because of the lifting so far in 6 municipalities like Tamura, Minamisoma, Hirono, etc., a lot of local events are coming back to town, as you see on the right. For example, Starlight Festival or Running Festival, Summer Festival, Futaba World 2016, or Wild Horse Chase Festival. And due to an intensive efforts made by the national government for decontamination, we are expecting further liftings in 4 municipalities, like Kawamata, Iidate, Namie, and Tomioka this spring. Consequently, the remaining evacuation zone will go down to 1/3 of the original evacuation zone. Please go to page 4. On the left, this is a place where the Fukushima Prefecture is located. On the right, you see the big red round spot is the place where the headquarters is located. The headquarters is still within the evacuation zone. Please flip the page. And the next page shows the major activities in respect of revitalization activities. Again, our objectives are 3. 1, to help evacuees return home, help them restore life, and develop local communities. For those purposes, we would like to mitigate any constraints on radioactive materials and take out any negative rumors on Fukushima products or sightseeing. For these purposes, TEPCO headquarters is mobilizing bulk of TEPCO group employees across Kanto area so as to respond to the request from local communities and to run various revitalization activities. Major activities include, as provided in this column, indoor cleaning, clearing, weed removal, assisting temporary stay, and others. So as you see at the bottom, cumulative total people times day rendered in response to this request since January 2013, when the headquarters was inaugurated, to the end of last year reached 316,161, which surpassed our business goal of 250,000 under TEPCO business plan. Please flip the page. The next page shows how TEPCO people engaged in action. The upper left is outdoor cleaning and clearing. The upper right is a weed removal at graveyards. And the lower left is a free seminar on nursing. And the lower right is area patrolling. We actually got some comments from the local residents which saying that I can no longer see TEPCO favorably because of this accident. However, I really appreciate your work, noted by a woman in her 40s living in Hirono town. Or, this accident itself is not your guys' own fault, but do you know how much we suffered from? Please keep that in mind. This was a comment by a guy in his 60s who was evacuated from Okuma town. So these comments were really touching to my heart and made us think that we'd like to do our best for revitalization activities. And the example, please go to the next page. This shows before and after the work. The upper one is indoor cleaning and clearing. On the left, you will notice that dirty things are scattered and pretty much in disorder. But after the work, all the stuff are placed neat and tidy, and it's quite refreshing. In the lower left is weed is overgrowing and which are blocking our sight. But after the work, all the mud or weeds were taken out, which is providing a good outlook across the area. Please flip the page. The next page shows our decontamination activities. Once again, the objectives are to help the evacuees return home, to help them restore life, and develop local communities. For these purposes, we'd like to mitigate any constraints or concerns over radioactive materials and take out any negative rumors on products or sightseeing. For these purposes, our headquarters has been providing various technical assistance and internal expert for these activities while building up a good relationship with the national government and the local governments. And major activities include, as you see in the column, the number one is decontamination activities in special decontamination area, which correspond to evacuation zone, where the decontamination activities are controlled by the national government. Our headquarters has conducted various field survey and other quality control measures. The second one is a decontamination activities in integrated contamination service area. This is corresponding to a non-evacuation zone where the decontamination activities are controlled by the municipal government. And headquarters have provided and conducted various dose monitoring and field service. And activities for interim storage to be constructed in Okuma or Futaba town, or activities for waste management and recycling. Cumulative total number people times day rendered in response to the request since January 2013, when the headquarters was inaugurated, to the end of last year reached, as you see, 207,058, which also exceeded our business target of 160,000 and the TEPCO business plan. Please flip the page. The next page, 9, shows how the contamination work ongoing. The upper left is a field survey on contamination density on the soil surface. The upper right is a decontamination work in Furudono town, west of Iwaki City. And the lower left is a status check after decontamination work. And the lower right is on-site training. Please go to the next page. The next page shows headquarters is carrying out continuous air dose monitoring and introducing personal dose meter. The upper left shows air dose monitoring in Japan Railways for restoration of its operation. The upper middle indicates air dose monitoring on roads through elementary school in Nishigo village, which is west of Shirakawa city. Based on their request, a TEPCO employee is carrying a measuring instrument on his back with 2 detectors within the green boxes that are matching the height of school children. So total distance reached 190 kilometers and 185,000 spots were monitored. And the upper right is a personal dose meter jointly developed by TEPCO and Fuji Electric, which displays current dose level and the cumulative dose level, and which is working well with a normal GPS device and the original software developed by TEPCO, whereby each specific dose level at each spot along your track or trajectory will be shown on a Google map on your PC. And we are introducing this device to evacuees and national and the local governments. Please go to the next page. TEPCO also is developing at 2 sites, each of which is a 540 megawatt size integrated coal gasification combined cycle power plants in Fukushima. On the left, there are 2 white spots. The upper one shows a plant at the Hirono Thermal Power Station. The lower one shows a plant at the Joban Joint Power Company's Nakoso Power Plant. The objectives are to create an industrial base and open up job opportunities as part of TEPCO's support for local economic recovery, and to become next generation's global leader for clean coal technologies. And our headquarters has been playing a key role for environmental assessment and establishing a special purpose companies, both of which were completed last year. And we are expecting the one at the Hirono will start its operation in 2021, and the other at Nakoso in 2020. Please go to the next page. TEP headquarters is also improving power grid for accommodating more renewable energy in Fukushima. As a premier government-private partnership, on top, Fukushima Renewable Energy Promotion Council was established in July 2015. And this council is chaired by the governor of Fukushima Prefecture, and members are comprising Ministry of Energy Trade Industry, Reconstruction Agency, Fukushima Prefecture, 12 municipalities, TEPCO headquarters, and Tohoku Electric Power Companies, and so on. And on the scheme, a qualified renewable energy developer will enter into a registration agreement with the Fukushima Renewable Energy Promotion Council. And each time when municipalities will solicit a specific project, then a developer will submit an application. If it gets elected, then it will receive subsidies from prefecture. Then it will procure equity and finance from the local sources, and TEPCO will support by refurbishing Shin Fukushima 500 kV substation to accommodate more renewable energy at no cost to the developers, which is not a common practice in this renewable energy market. Please go to the next page. The next page shows TEP headquarters is promoting agri-products and tourism in Fukushima. So in accordance with the proposal by the headquarters, 11 private companies agreed to formulate an alliance to jointly implement measures to overcome negative rumors on Fukushima products and promote sightseeing in Fukushima. As of January to February now, the number of the companies reached at 34, including Mitsubishi, Toshiba, Hitachi, IHI, and other major listed companies. Headquarters is coordinating various activities among a local department, local bureau, local agriculture and forestry office, local producer company, and supporting companies to promote Fukushima product at each company's canteens or for company gifts, and promote direct purchase at the Fukushima products and food exhibition to be held at each company's office, and promote Fukushima tourism among supporting companies. And please go to the next page. TEP headquarters also supports Innovation Cost Initiative in accordance with the national policy frameworks. The objectives are to create new industrial base with innovation, to build a new town on a regional scale, and to facilitate local community development and international R&D activities. Since the inception of this national initiative, TEPCO headquarters has been deeply involved in the activities. We'd like to introduce 3 industrial bases under development through Japan Atomic Energy Agency. The top one is a radioactive substance analysis research facility in Okuma, which is under construction and to open this year. Next one is a decommissioning international collaborative investigation center in Tomioka, which will open in April this year. And the bottom one is a remote technology development center in Naraha for robot deployment and development, which opened April last year. Please go to the next page. And also, TEPCO is making the utmost effort to learn the best practice around the globe. For example, TEPCO and Sellafield entered into a cooperation agreement in respect of decommissioning and communication in 2014. Sellafield is a nuclear decommissioning site license company in Cumbria, UK, and established a very strong relationship with the West Cumbria communities over its 60 years experience. And Sellafield and headquarters will share the common challenges for communication activities to restore the trust from the local communities. As you see on the lower left, TEPCO headquarters was invited to the West Cumbria site group stakeholder meeting in Cumbria last autumn to make a presentation on revitalization activities. With this, we'd like to end my presentation. Again, the objectives are: 1, to help the evacuees return home. 2nd, help them restore life and develop local community. For these purposes, we'd like to do our best to mitigate the constraints on radioactive materials and remove hearsay or negative rumors. And I'd be very pleased if you deepen your understanding by my presentation. Please visit the website, Facebook, company website, and please also attend the media tour to be held on February 23rd. It's a whole day activities. In the morning, you will visit the Fukushima Daiichi site, followed by you are going to witness real revitalization activities around the off-site areas. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Okuno-san, for your insights and presentation, frank opinion, and I would like to open the floor to your questions. Please raise your hand if you have any question and proceed to the front mic. First question, I would like to take it. All right, maybe I should, until you think about it, I would like to ask a question now.
では私から。
I noticed that you have a new device, a radiation meter.
All right.
And is this like a new product by a Japanese company, and is it for sale in the market?
すみません、今ご紹介ありました中にこの新しい装置、測定器でしょうか、こういったものが出てきましたけれども、これは新製品なんでしょうか、また、市場で販売はされているんでしょうか、日本の企業が作っているようなものなのか、そのあたりお聞かせください。
このパーソナルドースミーターですよね。
And you're talking about the personal dosimeter.
はい。ありがとうございます。こちら日本語でさせていただきます。
Thank you so much for the question, and please allow me to speak in Japanese for this part of the session.
こちらでいきますと、ページの10ページをご覧いただきたいと思います。
So if you can kindly turn to page 10.
まずこのドースメーターですが、これは東京電力と富士電機で共同開発されたものでございます。
So this personal dosimeter is something that was developed jointly between TEPCO and Fuji Electric.
ドースメーター自体は約10万円ほどで市販されております。
And this dosimeter, yes, is available on the market at approximately 100,000 Japanese yen.
そしてソフトウェア自体はTEPCOの方から自由にこれは取得可能でございます。
And as for the software, it is actually available from TEPCO. It is made available.
したがいましてそういったものを利用して購入されてソフトウェアをつけて 実際お試しなさることもできると思っております。
Which means that you can in fact purchase the dosimeter and acquire the software and put them together and in fact make use of the dosimeter yourself.
以上でございます。
Thank you for the question.
Thank you. Yes, please.
ドイツテレビの西里と申します。今回のお話は、福島第一原子力発電所が今どうなっているかという話が一つも出てこなかったんですけれども、私どもが知りたいのはそちらの方なわけで、その今の喫緊の問題っていうのについて少しご説明をいただきたいということと、それからそのように、コミュニティの件とか、それから被災者の問題とかだけを、ここで今日お話になったのは何か理由があるわけなんでしょうか。その2つの質問をお願いしたいんですが。
ドイツテレビ西田です。
西里です。
すみません、失礼しました。西里様。はい。I am Nishizato from Deutsche TV. I do have two questions. Today, you did not explain anything about the status of the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power station. Now, indeed, the people who are gathered here are here to, in fact, learn more about what the situation is. So would you be kind enough to explain a little bit about the eminent issues at that site? And my second question is with regards to the reason why you had today only explained about your relationship with the community and with the evacuees and the people who have been impacted by this disaster. So if you can kindly reply to those two questions, please.
まず福島第一の廃炉につきましては大変なご心配とご苦労をおかけしているところでございます。
Well, of course, with regards to the decommissioning activities that are taking place at Fukushima Daiichi, we recognize the amount of agony and concern that is being caused by the activities to the people.
まず汚染水につきましては3つの原則に基づいて仕事をしております。
Now, with regards to the contaminated water, we are basically carrying out activities based on three principles.
まず汚染源を取り除く。
Which is to, number one, remove the source of contamination.
汚染源に地下水を近づけない。
Number two, to isolate groundwater from the contaminated water.
汚染水の漏洩を防ぐ。
And to, in fact, prevent contaminated water from leaking out.
こうした原則を実現するためにさまざまな対策をこの6年間で施してまいりました。
So in order to realize these principles, we have been taking various measures over the last 6 years.
陸側、海側遮水壁ですとか、サブドレインとか、井戸水の汲み上げとか、さまざまな重層的な対策でございます。
And in fact, those measures were multifold. The isolation wall that we have put up on the hillside as well as on the seaside, the subdrain system, as well as the pumping up of water from the wells are some of those measures that have already been taken.
おかげさまをもちまして、こうした汚染水問題についてはほぼ我々でコントロール可能な状況になっております。
And due to all the effort that has been made with regards to this contaminated water issue, it has come to a state where we have a good grasp around, good control of such water.
続きまして、デブリの取り出しにつきましては、もうすでに4号機からデブリの取り出しが完了しております。
Now, secondly, regarding the removal of fuel debris, we have already completed the removal of fuel debris from unit number 4.
続きまして残りは2号機、これからサソリロボットの挿入に向けていろいろカメラを入れて内部についての情報を今集めているところでございます。
Then regarding unit number 2, of course we want to insert the Scorpion robot, if I may. So therefore, at the moment, we are putting in cameras, trying to insert cameras into this unit so that we can understand more what the internal state of this unit is.
それ以外も3号機、1号機におきましても着々と燃料の取り出しに向けた対策を講じているところでございます。
And with regards to the remaining units, which is number 3 and number 1, there are various measures that are being steadily put into place so that fuel debris can be removed, or fuel can be removed.
すべての計画は中長期ロードマップにのっとったスケジュールに向けて着実に仕事をこなしていく全力を尽くす所存でございます。
And so whatever we do, what is most important is that we make every effort and an all-out effort so that we can take steady steps in realizing all of these measures so that we can in fact stick to our mid to long-term roadmap.
ぜひ2月23日のメディアツアーでこうした進捗の実態を直接ご確認いただきたいと思っております。
And once again, I do hope that you will, in person, go to Fukushima Daiichi on the 23rd of February so that you can see for yourself the progress that has been made through these measures.
一方で、オフサイトにつきましては、避難指示解除の動きが国によって加速されております。
Now, when we turn to off-site situations, of course, the Japanese government is accelerating its efforts to lift the evacuation orders in these areas.
私ども復興本社としましては、今後、帰還が増える住民の方々と寄り添って、そういった方々のさまざまなご希望に応えながら、地域の発展と共存共栄に向けて全力で取り組んでいきたいと思っております。
Now, of course, we, the members of the revitalization headquarters, will work very closely, walking hand in hand with the returnees to these areas, because the people who have been evacuated will gradually be coming back. And with hope, we hope to work together for the coexistence and co-prosperity of this region and these regions.
以上でございます。
Thank you very much for the question.
Thank you. Yes.
Peter Lyon, freelance. You speak about helping the displaced residents return home
Right.
to various areas of Fukushima.
Mm-hmm.
You use the word zendyokude many times, and I'd like to understand what you mean by that. Because when you say you want to help these people return home and revitalize the community, can you explain in detail how you will actually do that? Can you explain where you will get the budget to do that? Can you explain exactly what you're going to do? Because a lot of the residents have lost their homes, they've lost their livelihoods. How will you help these people return home to houses that have been crushed? Where will these people go?And how will they live? Can you please explain that?
フリーランスのピーター・ライオンと申します。今の話の中で、その避難を余儀なくされていらっしゃる方々がこの帰還された際に、福島のいろいろなところに戻ってこられると思うんですけれども、全力で支援をしますというふうにこういうふうにおっしゃっていたと思います。その全力でというのが一体どういう意味なのかを詳しくご説明をいただきたいと思います。と言いますのは、一体どのようにして、どこから予算をつけてその復興活動をしていくのかということです。多くの住民の方々が家もなくし、そして生活も失っているわけです。そしてこの災害によってその潰れてしまった家にどう戻ればいいのか、あるいはどこに戻ればいいのか、具体的にどうなさるのかということを教えていただけますか。
はい、ありがとうございます。大変いい質問をいただいて大変ありがとうございます。
Thank you very much for the good question.
まず私どもはこの活動につきまして県や国、そして市町村と緊密に協力しながら活動を進めております。
In all of these activities, we have been, again, very closely working with, of course, the central government, the prefecture, as well as the municipalities in this region.
大まかに言いますと、病院、住宅、飲み水、電気、水道、こうしたインフラ関係は国および市町村がそれぞれ予算を持って復興インフラという形で整備を進めているところでございます。予算も持っており、こちらが持っております。
Now, for hospital facilities, houses, drinking water, electricity, and water services. These fall under the responsibility of the central government and also the local municipalities. So the budget comes from these organizations, and this is all worked under as restoration infrastructure that need to be developed.
私ども復興本社はこうした過程で県や国からさまざまな要望をいただきます。例えば帰還に際して家の周りをきれいにしてほしい、道路をきれいにしてほしい、学校を再開したいんで引っ越ししたい、手伝ってほしい、こうした要望はやっぱり人手が必要であります。これらはすべて人海戦術で私ども復興本社が駆けつけて行うという形で取り組んでおります。
Now, how do we play in this overall situation? There are requests that are forwarded to the revitalization headquarters from the prefecture or from the central government. For example, we need to clear the area around houses or clean off the roads, or perhaps they want to resume school operations and so therefore they need help to relocate. These are matters that need manpower, and it is indeed this manpower that the revitalization headquarters is providing.
あと一つは帰られた方がいろんな食ですとか工業とか農業、こういった職場を再開するにあたっての職場再開の支援に向けた復興会社、これは福島創創機構というものが昨年12月に法人化されて、こちらは東京電力復興本社も人を供給して皆様のさまざまなご要望を承りながら、いかにしてこういった事業の再開をスムーズにできるかに向けて我々が協力しているところでございます。
And then the returnees, in fact, have to have a job once they return, whether it's a business or whether it's farming. And that is why last year in December, the Fukushima Soma Futaba Reconstruction Corporation had been established. In fact, TEPCO has dispatched people to this organization. In fact, there are many requests that have come into this company to provide all sorts of assistance so that these people can in fact resume their business and farming smoothly.
これからも復興本社といたしましては、できることを一つ一つ着実に進めて皆様の信頼を回復していきたいと考えている次第でございます。
And so, in a similar manner, the revitalization headquarters will continue to do what it can do one by one, very steadily, so that gradually we will be able to recover the trust that has been lost.
以上でございます。
Thank you so much.
Pierre Boutier, freelance photojournalist. I have some question to you. You talk about false rumor, and you talk a lot about false rumor. Since the catastrophe, TEPCO always say false rumor, but how about health of people? How about cyber, about people who doesn't want to return to their home because they check by themselves radioactive materials and they find a lot of hotspots, and it's not a false rumor, it's a fact. And how about 20 millisievert compared to Chernobyl? Compared to Chernobyl disaster, 20 millisievert is not possibility. It's not possible to return to home. When TEPCO take responsibility of health of people, when?
はい、フォトジャーナリストのものです。この災害が起きてから、ずっと、フォルスルーモア、 風評被害ではないですけれども、この、皆さんの噂が、真実ではないというような、こういう表現のされ方をしてこられたかと思います。で一方で、例えば住民自らがその線量計を使いまして放射性物質の測定をしてホットスポットがどれぐらいホットスポットなのかということを理解した上で帰還したくないと、こういうふうに考える人もいるのではないかと思います。チェルノブイリの事故の時と比べて、今回20ミリシーベルトというような敷地が用いられていますけれども、それでは戻れないというような中で、こういった戻りたくないあるいはそういう人々に対してはいつどんなふうに支援が提供されるのか、そのあたりを聞かせていただけますか。
大変いい質問ありがとうございます。
Thank you for that question.
まず現在の実情から申し上げたいと思います。
Let me first of all talk about reality regarding the situation.
まず帰還困難区域につきましては、放射線量が年間も50ミリシーベルトを下らないという規則がございました。
Now, first of all, with regards to the areas where residents will perhaps not be able to return for a very, very long time, there is, in fact, a threshold, which is a cumulative annual dose of above 50 millisieverts.
しかしながら、国が指導する先ほど申し上げました国直轄除染の活動のおかげで、こうしたところの線量も相当減っておりまして、もう今では20ミリシーベルトを下回るようなところがほとんどでございます。
Now, like I explained earlier, thanks to the efforts led by the national government for the special decontamination area, the decontamination activities have, in fact, been very effective. The dose levels have come down greatly, and in most of the areas, in fact, it is indeed below 20 millisieverts per annum.
一つの例を申し上げたいと思います。
And let me give you one example.
大熊町、これは帰還困難区域でございます。
Okay, this is an example of Okuma Town, which is inside the area where residents probably will not be able to return for a very long time.
この中に復興拠点として大曲地区というところがございます。
Now, there is an area called Omagari area. In fact, it's been designated as a restoration region.
こちらは国の直轄除染の影響で線量の低下が進みまして、実際帰還困難区域の中ではありますが、すでに東京電力が会社員の社宅を作りました。
Now, this area so happens to be within that area where it's considered residents will not be able to return for a very long time. However, due to the decontamination efforts, the dose levels have come down dramatically, and therefore TEPCO has indeed constructed an employee residence here in this area.
もう一つは福島第一で働く作業員の方々のための給食センターもこの大熊町の中に作りました。
Another example is the meal center that TEPCO has established inside the Okuma town, again, to provide meals to the workers at Fukushima Daiichi.
こうした形で東京電力としては着々と帰還される皆様のために環境の整備、そして人が住みやすいような町の整備というものを現在進めているところでございます。
So these are some of the examples of the efforts that TEPCO has been making to, in fact, get the environment ready and get the community or that the town ready so that it can receive people coming back to their regions.
私どもはこれからもこういった住民の方々のご希望に寄り添ってできるだけ皆様のお声を聞きながら皆様が帰りやすいような環境を作っていきたいと思っているところでございます。
And so we will continue to listen very closely to the voices of the people and the wishes that they may have so that we can work on the environment to make it somewhere people feel comfortable in coming back to. もう一つ質問が。あとは多分質問の中に健康問 題の話がおそらくあったんだと思います。東電としてこういった方が影響を受けた方々のその健康面での支援はどのようにされるご予定ですかというご質問です。
どうも大変質問をありがとうございます。
Again, thank you for the question and thank you for filling in.
地域の住民の方々の話です。
And we're talking about the local residents.
Local residents or
not the
on-site workers?
The residents. 住民の方です。これで影響を受けたような住民についてです。
まず先ほども申し上げたように、復興診療所という新しい病院がどんどんできております。
I mentioned about hospitals earlier. There have been several hospitals that have been established to support restoration.
これは、県や市町村が主体となって作った診療所でございます。
Now, the setting up of these facilities were led by mainly the prefecture and also the municipalities.
健康上に問題や不安がある方々は、皆こういった新しくできた病院のところに診療に行って、何かあればかかりつけのお医者さんにご相談したりして、それぞれ皆さん健康維持に努めていらっしゃるというような状況でございます。
And so, for those people who have problems with their health or have concerns about their health, can indeed get looked at these facilities and talk with the doctor and maintain their health conditions.
以上でございます。
Thank you.
Thanks. Yes.
Kiyoshi Takenaka from Reuters. Potential radiation exposure remains a big concern for those who used to live in the area when they think about returning. Of course, so far in this session, you've already talked a little bit about that, but the fact that slightly more than 10% of those residents in Naraha, where the evacuation order was lifted like 1.5 years ago. So some 90% of the former residents chose not to return. Of course, they got a bunch of reasons, I believe, but radiation exposure, I believe, is one of the big reasons for them not to. So, do you believe those concerns are groundless? They don't need to worry about that. If you do, or if TEPCO does, could we give us a reason in a simple way, maybe the way I, as a layman, can understand, and those former residents can understand clearly and easily? Thank you.
ロイターズの竹中清と申します。この以前そこに住んでいらした皆さんが帰還を考える際に一つ大きな懸念となるのは、潜在的な被爆なのではないかと思います。今日も少しそのあたり言及がありましたけれども、1年半ほど前に避難指示が解除された、楢葉町におきましても、帰還している方の割合が 10%、つまり 90% は帰還しないという判断をされているわけです。理由は様々あろうかと思いますけれども、この被爆に対する懸念というのもその大きな理由の一つなのではないかと思います。で、そういう心配を全くする必要がないのかどうかということ、東京電力としまして、そのあたりを非常に簡潔に、根拠といいますか理由ですとか、そういったところをご説明、しかも私ですとかその元住民の方々が理解できるようにご説明をいただけたらと思うんですが、お願いいたします。
大変いい質問ありがとうございます。
Thank you so much for that good question.
私どもはこういった帰還に迷われている方がどういう理由で帰還を迷われているかっていうのをいろんな調査結果を分析しております。
Actually, we are analyzing the results of surveys that tell us the reasons why those people who have decided not to return have not returned.
例えば福島県が行ったこういった機関に基づく調査というものを見てみますと、帰還に迷われている方が挙げる理由としては、やはり高中さんおっしゃったように、例えば学校、子どもさんの学校であるとか、あとはいろんなスーパー、そういったいろんなインフラストラクチャー、こういったもの、そして病院、それに加えてこういった放射線の問題とさまざまな原因があるということが調査結果に出ております。
For example, if we turn to the survey that was conducted by Fukushima Prefecture, as Mr. Takenaka rightly pointed out, there were several reasons that these people who were wondering whether they should go back or not said they were concerned about. One about the schools that their children would go to, supermarkets, infrastructure, or hospitals. These are and of course, potential exposure to radiation.
私どもは復興本社としては、こういう方とできるだけ寄り添って個別に対話を進めていく方策をとっております。
So the approach of us, the revitalization headquarters, is to really work with these people. In other words, have dialogues with these people.
一つの例としては、そういった方のところにお伺いして、どういったお悩みがあるのかということを直接お伺いするというやり方もございます。
For example, we make visits to these people so that we can have a direct dialogue with them to understand their concerns.
もう一つのやり方としては、すでに帰還された方々のお声を伝えるというやり方もあると思います。
Now, another effort is in fact to take the voices or the opinions of the people who have already returned to these people who are considering it.
でもう一つは私どもで測量したデータといろいろありますので、こういったものをお示ししてご安心いただくというやり方もあるかと思います。
And of course, TEPCO also has a lot of data from our monitoring or measurements, and so therefore we can show them that as well, and that is how we would try to take away their concerns.
あともう一つは、こうした方々の中にはぜひ機会があれば福島第一の廃炉の状況を視察していただくというやり方もあると思います。
And that's one direction of effort that is being taken. Another is, in fact, invite these people to see for themselves what activities of decommissioning is taking place at Fukushima Daiichi.
こうしたさまざまなやり方を通して、できるだけ住民の皆様に寄り添って、そういった方々がなるべくお帰りやすいような環境を作るということを我々常に心がけて取り組んでいる次第でございます。
And through these efforts, again, we just want to work closely with these residents and establish an environment to where these people feel comfortable in coming back to.
先ほど訂正があります。
I have one correction to make, excuse me, before I take the next question.
先ほど大熊町の中で東京電力の社宅あるいは食堂があるところはですね、大河原地区でございました。大曲ではございません。大河原でございます。大変失礼いたします。
Okay, and the one correction I would like to make is the name of the area that I mentioned within Okuma Town, where we established our company residence and company meal center. It was Okawara area instead of Magari area, and excuse me for that.
もう一つ訂正させていただきます。
And one more correction.
先ほど福島第一の廃炉の状況につきまして、4号機から燃料デブリの取り出し完了と申し上げましたが、これは使用済み燃料の取り出しの完了でございます。大変失礼いたしました。
And apologies. I talked about the fact that fuel debris removal from unit number 4 had been completed in the overall decommissioning effort for unit number 4. But that is not the removal of fuel debris, but rather removal of spent fuel from that unit.
失礼いたしました。
And I apologize once again.
さようでございます。
原武と申します。私は個人でこの会に入っておりまして、メディアとは一切関係ございません。大貫様並びに責任者の今までのご尽力に大変、感謝と敬意を捧げます。なお一層大変困難な問題ですが、頑張っていただきたいと思います。私の質問は、先ほどドイツテレビの方が質問なされたように、現状この災害の原子力が一体大きな枠でですね、大まかにどうなっているかで、そしてですね、私の質問は、この状況をですね、国連公用語のフランス語、中国語、スペイン語から英語はもちろんですけども、で国際社会に発信しているのかどうかで、それはですね、そうしないと、この事故は不幸にして日本に起こりまして、日本人だけの問題じゃなくて人類共通の問題なんですね。でそれは今ですね、アメリカのみならず中国でも、それから UAE、その他で、原子力をエネルギーの経済コストの観点からですね、推進しようともう動き始めているわけですね。そしてこういった不幸な悲劇が二度と起こらないためには、よくその知らない方に、教育させるとか、それから注意を持って真剣に緊張感を持ってやらなきゃいけないっていう、そういう観点からですね、私はそしてそういうことに出せばですね、それはどういう方法でやるか、何回やるかは、それは例えば1年に2回とか、どういう範囲でやるかは、それはやる方のあれでお任せするんですけど、そういうことをやることが私は個人として非常に大切だと思うんですね。でそれを今やってるかどうかということと、やってなかったらどうしてやってないのか、それでちょっとですね、直接私。
すみません、she has to translate. So just what's your question, please? Just what's the question?
I'm an individual member of FCCJ, so I'm not a member of the press, and my name is Takeshi Hara. I first and foremost would like to express my gratitude and respect to Mr. Onuki and the leaders of TEPCO for the efforts that have been made, and I would like to also encourage you to continue to do your best with all of the difficulties that you will be facing in the future. Now, just like what was mentioned by the madam from Deutsche ETV, we want to understand what the overall nuclear picture looks like, and I think it's important to, in fact, communicate this information in at least common languages adopted by the United Nations, so French, Chinese, Spanish, of course, English, so that the international community will be able to understand that this is obviously an issue, a very tragic issue that occurred in Japan, but it is not a challenge that should be only tackled by the Japanese. It is, in fact, a common issue for humankind, and where countries like the United States and China and UAE have nuclear programs and have decided to adopt more nuclear because of perhaps economic reasons, it would be most important to, in fact, enlighten everyone, educate them, and I think that is why communication to the international community would be most important. And so how you do it is up to perhaps the communicator, but have you been doing this is my question, and if not, why not?
大変貴重なご質問ありがとうございます。
Thank you very much for that valuable question.
まず福島事故の概要を振り返りにつきましては、私どもの会社のホームページ、あるいは Facebook、Twitter 等を通じまして、英語でですね、逐一こういった状況を発信しております。また関係者の方にはメールでも発信するようなサービスも行っております。
Now, with regards to the developments at Fukushima Daiichi, we have been communicating information on TEPCO's website, Facebook, as well as Twitter, whenever we had the information. And we have also been emailing people about information if they so decided to receive it.
と先ほど申し上げました福島第一をご視察いただく方、これ約年間1万人ほど今ございます。
Now, I've been talking about visits to Fukushima Daiichi, but currently we receive about 10,000 people, 10,000 visitors per year at the facility.
昨年の例を取りますと、これの約 11% ぐらいが外国からの方々でございました。
Now, in the case of last year, 11% of those visitors were foreign visitors.
ということは、1000人以上の方々、これはもう世界各地から福島第一に来られて、実際福島第一見学されて、廃炉の状況とかを実際ご見学いただいております。
And these people, 1,000 plus visitors, have come to Fukushima Daiichi from all around the world and have seen the activities at Fukushima Daiichi for decommissioning.
私どもはこれからもホームページの充実化、ソーシャルメディアの充実化を通して、よりタイムリーに情報を出していきたいと思います。
And so we will continue to enrich and enhance the communication that that takes place on our homepage as well as all sorts of social media. So,
Tapani Jussila, Kanki Press, Helsinki, Finland. Thank you for the very important information. And as you may know, Finland is one of those countries that is still building nuclear power. So this was very, very good information. Is my impression correct that TEPCO has become now in Japan more like a cleaning man, reparation man, and development agency instead of building nuclear power? Do you have any nuclear power building plans anymore?
すみません、フィンランドの換気プレスのものです。今日は大変重要な情報をありがとうございました。この私どもフィンランドはまだ原子炉を建設している数少ないところなんですけれども、そういう国にとりまして非常に良い情報になったと思います。今伺っていて、印象としては、東電というのは、クリーニングをするような、そんな会社になった、あるいは開発とか、そういうことをするような、会社になってしまって、原子力なんてやらないようになってしまったのかなと、こういう印象なんですけれども、その原子炉を建設する計画というのは、さらにはございませんでしょうか。
大変いい質問ありがとうございます。
Thank you so much for that great question.
一つのこの報告によりますと、今日本全体には42の原子炉がございます。16の発電所がございます。
Now, according to reports, throughout Japan, there are 16 nuclear power stations with a total of 42 reactors.
今、原子力規制委員会で10の原子炉が審査を合格しております。
Now, so far, under the review of the Nuclear Regulation Authority, 10 of those reactors have been approved.
そのうちの2基が稼働中でございます。
Now, out of those 10 that have been approved, only 2 units are up and running.
それ以外にも20を超える原子炉が今再稼働に向けて原子力規制委員会の審査を受けております。
Now, in addition to these units, another 20-some units are under review by the NRA so that they can resume operations.
東京電力の柏崎刈谷6号機、7号機もその中に含まれます。
And among them are TEPCO's Kashiwazaki Kariwa Nuclear Power Stations Units 6 and 7.
今私どもは原子力規制委員会のこういった審査を受けているところでございます。
And so we are currently receiving this review from NRA.
で今そういった審査再稼働に向けて着実にこういった規制委員会の方々のご指導を受けながら私は審査に向けて鋭意準備しておりますので、そういったものの再稼働あるいは運転時間の延長等も含めれば日本全体としては政府が示したエナジーミックス達成に向けて取り組んでいる姿勢がご理解いただけるかと思っております。
And so at the moment, every effort is being made for the preparation so that these units can be restarted under the monitoring or under the support of NRA. And this would include restarting of units as well as perhaps more extension of operation periods beyond 40 years. And if all of the units throughout Japan can realize their plans, I believe that the energy mix that has been defined by the Japanese government is achievable in hitting its nuclear share.
ありがとうございます。
And thank you so much for the question.
Kurt, quick question.
Yeah, my name is Kurt Sieber. I'm an associate member. Thank you for the presentation today. I have a question about the future. On page 11 of your presentation, you're talking about the IGCC plants and about clean coal technology. Now, the rest of the world is trying to get rid of coal, but apparently Japan is still heavily depending on coal, which is polluting the air in a different way, particularly with the greenhouse gases. But my question to you is a positive one. How much of the, and that's your next page, page 12, to what extent is TEPCO doing development in renewables? In what relation is that to the coal plant? And I'm very pleased to tell you I have a solar plant on my roof and I'm selling all my electricity to TEPCO. Thank you.
アソシエイトメンバーのクーツィと申します。本日はプレゼンテーションありがとうございました。少し未来について質問があります。まず11ページにIGCC ですとかクリーンコールテクノロジーについて出てくるんですけれども、世の中他のところでは石炭をなくそうとしている中で、このように日本ではいまだに大きくこの石炭に依存をしているというように見受けております。特に温室効果ガスの宣言となりますものを発している石炭、それをまだ日本はやろうとしているのかという印象なんですけれども、実は質問はこれではなくて、次の12ページに出てくるこの内容についてなんです。再生可能エネルギーの開発について東京電力はこういうふうに関わっていらっしゃると思うんですけれども、このどんな関係をもってしてその石炭のプラントと再生可能エネルギーのこの取り組みというのはどんな関係にあるのか、そのあたりをご説明していただきたいのと、最後に一つ申し上げたいのは、実は私家にソーラーパネルが乗っかっておりまして、そこで発電した電気は東京電力さんに売らせていただいておりますので、とても嬉しく思っています。
どうも大変ありがとうございます。感謝いたします。
Thank you so much and thank you for the electricity.
まず第一の質問のIGCC につきましては、これは投射費で申しますと約 15% もの大量の CO2 を削減できるというまさに次世代のクリーンコールのテクノロジーの一つの切り札となるような新技術でございます。
Now, let me start off with a comment around IGCC. In fact, based on TEPCO's research, the new technology, which is really the next generation of clean coal technology, will allow us to reduce a great amount of CO2 emissions, 15% according to our surveys.
こちらは TEPCO が主体的に投資もして開発を行っておりますので、もしこのプロジェクトが実際に運転を開始した暁には、実現可能な一つの技術およびプロジェクトとして、世界に一つその例を示せることができるものであると期待しております。
Now, TEPCO has directly invested in this and has been directly involved in the development of this project. So once these units come into operation, it would in fact demonstrate the possibility of commercializing this technology and the commercialization of such project being feasible.
次に再エネにつきましては、国のエナジーミックスで約2030年時点で22から 24% ぐらいを再エネで賄おうという国の政策が出ております。
Now, regarding renewable energy, the Japanese government has determined an energy mix under their energy policy, and by 2030, renewable energy will account for approximately 22 to 24%.
私どもは系統運用事業者としてなるべくこういった方々がより多く系統におつなぎいただける機会も増やそうということで、福島県を中心に系統を整備して環境整備をしているというような状況で支援させていただいております。
Of course, TEPCO is an operator of the power grid, and so in order to accommodate the integration of all of these renewable energy sources to our grid, we are making efforts in Fukushima as well as in other places so that we can in fact connect these sources and accommodate these renewable energy sources.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you so much for the
Last
question.
follow-up.
One last short question. In the presentation, you've spoken about, I think you've used the word 200 millisieverts and 20 millisieverts, but I think part of the problem, to prevent words that we've used in here like false rumors, misunderstanding, these sort of things, the levels of contamination that came out of reactor number 2 were 530 sieverts, not 530 millisieverts. So do you think we can help everyone understand, laymen like me, laymen like most of us are here, not just laymen but residents in the area? Do you think we can help them understand how to proceed in their life by getting the right information? Because in the press, as we've heard today in your presentation, even in the newspapers, they're talking about millisieverts, sieverts, they're giving different numbers. It talks about 20 millisieverts, and then it says 530 sieverts, which is 1,000 times that number. So do you think it's a good idea to find a figure, stick with that figure so everyone can understand it clearly?
1点だけ手短に申し上げたいと思います。今日の発表の中でも、20ミリシーベルトですとか、あるいはフォルスルーモア、風評被害だとか誤解方とかいろいろな説明が出てきましたけれども、この2号機の汚染というのは、実際にはミリシーベルトではなくて530シーベルトという次元になったのではないかと思います。それをここにいる我々のような、技術者ではない人々、さらに言ってしまえば住民の皆さんがもっと分かりやすく、できるような数字はないんでしょうか。その生活について判断をし、適切な情報をもとにその判断をするためにも、例えば今日のプレスでも20ミリシーベルトなんていう数字が出てきている一方で、その汚染が2号機からは530シーベルトなんて言われると判断がしにくいので、例えば一つ何か数字を値を決めて、それをずっと貫き通して使うというような、こんなアプローチは取れないものでしょうか。
大変ご質問ありがとうございます。
Thank you for that question.
まずこういった2号機からのデータにつきましては、すでに私どもまだ解析中でございます。
Now, the data that we have gathered from unit number 2 is still under analysis at TEPCO.
私どもとしては、こうしたデータなりいろんな写真なり、どんどん新しい情報が出てくるのを非常に前向きに捉えているところでございます。
And whether it's data or new photographs, all those pieces of new information is something that we consider very positive.
データの取得とその分析なしには次のアクションは取れません。
Because we will not be able to take the next step, which is taking action, unless we are able to collect data and get photographs.
私どもは今月中にサソリロボットの投入を予定しております。
So by the end of this month, we plan to insert that Scorpion robot into the reactor.
すべてのデータの検出およびその分析はこのサソリロボットの投入に向けた前段階の準備でございます。
And all of the data that is collected, as well as the information that is collected, is really for preparational reasons so that we can insert and send in the Scorpion robot.
従いましてこれを分析検証して次のアクションに前向きに捉えていきたいと思っておりますので、ぜひご理解いただきたいと思っております。
And so we will analyze this data, validate what we have, and in fact make every effort so that we can move on. And I do hope that we get your understanding around the matter.
Here at 530 sieverts, the robot will only last for 2 hours. Is that right?
530 sieverts
530 sieverts,
will only.
which is 530 530,000 millisieverts. The robot will only last. It's originally built for 10 hours, but at that level it can only last for under 2 hours.
530シーベルトと先ほど申しましたけれども、ミリシーベルトに換算すると53万ミリシーベルトということになります。でもともとこの、サソリロボットというのは約10時間耐えうるものというふうに聞いていますけれども、そこまでの線量だと、汚染レベルだと、2時間ぐらいしか持たないというような話も聞いたことがあるんですけれども、それは本当でしょうか。
ぜひ2月23日のメディアツアーの時にですね、私どもスタッフが回っておりますので、そこで実際にご見学いただいて、そちらの方から質問の方回答差し上げたいと思いますので、ぜひご参加ください。よろしくお願いいたします。
I really hope that you will be on that media tour on the 23rd of February because our staff members will escort you on site to show you what we have and explain about the situation, and perhaps that question might be better handled by the people over there.
Thank you very much. That wraps up our event today. Thanks for your insight, Mr. Kunan. Thank you for Miyashita-san for your interpretation. I would like to give you 1 year honorary membership to our club. You can come at any time and enjoy talking with the journalists and give us all kinds of information. Thank you very much.
And thank you again for attending this important session. Look forward to see you again. Thank you very much.
Thanks and have a nice evening.
ありがとうございました。Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
どうも、お願いします。ぜひ